Hello, welcome to Live Well with Banter, a new podcast produced by Hayward and Stuff Productions for Live Well with Cancer. I'm your host, Ben Elliott, or to regulars at the Live Well Hub, Maureen's son. I'm here today with a very special guest, Dr. Charlotte Gooden, a menopause expert who's here today to talk with us all things banter, all things cancer, and a lot of menopause. How are you doing, Charlotte?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's nice to have you here.
Oh, it's so lovely to be here. Thank you.
It's a wonderful space. We always love our podcast, and this is a little bit of a special one today. So the first 6 episodes, we're kind of getting to know people of the community. Now we're bringing in experts, and you're our first choice. So it is a privilege.
Oh, I feel very special.
Exactly. There's only one first, and you're here today. So what I wanted to do, normally what we do to begin with is talk about live well with healthy habits, a topic very close to my heart. But today I'd like to start with a topic very close to your heart, and that's menopause. And I just wanted to ask a couple of questions just to kind of make sure the audience understands what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
So in a broad sense, what is menopause?
So menopause is actually just one day. It's when you haven't had any periods for 12 months or more. But there's a whole kind of thing around it as well. So from sort of 10 years before that point, you can be what we call perimenopausal. And that's when your hormones start to change and they can fluctuate quite wildly. Then when you get to menopause, your periods stop, and they must have been stopped for 12 months in order for us to say you're menopausal. And the average age for that is around 50, 51 in the UK. So actually, your perimenopausal symptoms can start anywhere from your late 30s, early 40s. So things people might kind of notice in that perimenopausal stage are with the fluctuations in the hormones, big ups and downs, they often feel a bit like that. So they might feel fine 1 minute, but not fine the next. Might start to notice some anxiety, low mood creeping in, changes to periods. So they might notice that their periods become lighter, more frequent, less frequent, heavier. But other things like sleep might go out the window, or they might notice hair thinning or skin changes. There's like 35 plus symptoms of the menopause that you can notice. So there's perimenopause. That's the 10 years up to the point that you become menopausal. That's when you have no periods for 12 months or more. And then after that, you're postmenopausal.
Brilliant. Well, that's a fantastic answer. Now, we've been working together on a resource called Menopause, Cancer and Me. So could you explain the kind of links between cancer and menopause? Yeah,
so that kind of structure that I've kind of just explained actually is very different for people that have cancer. So for a number of reasons, different cancer treatments can actually put you into menopause. So things like chemotherapy, that stops the ovaries from functioning. So you don't get the estrogen, testosterone and progesterone going around your body. So it can stop your periods. Also can have an impact on fertility, depending on when that chemotherapy happens. There's other things like radiotherapy, especially if it's to the pelvis area, can stop the ovaries working as well. We also, for some cancers, you might have to have your ovaries removed. So, for example, in an ovarian cancer or some bowel cancers often have quite radical surgery where they remove quite a lot of the contents of the pelvis and the ovaries are removed as well. So that can put someone into a sudden menopausal state. But things like some of the treatments that we use around, particularly in breast cancer, so they can cause hormonal type symptoms, so menopausal-like side effects. So whilst they won't put you into menopause, some of the drugs we use like tamoxifen or letrozole may cause you to have symptoms that are very like the menopause. And then occasionally what we'll do as well is we will turn off the ovaries because we will want no estrogen in the body. And of course that will make you menopausal. There are also people who might come into their cancer and might already be on HRT. And if their cancer is hormone sensitive, we would say to them, you need to stop your HRT. So that's another way someone might suddenly, they're on HRT, they're doing fine, but then all their menopausal symptoms come back. But also we've got to remember this group of people that will just become menopausal either during or after their cancer treatment. And their experience of menopause might be very different to the average person. It's a very different type of menopause that you get after cancer. So if your menopause is induced either through surgery or through switching off your ovaries through treatment or by giving you the side effects of treatment, then it's very sudden and it's very abrupt and the symptoms are often a lot worse. But unfortunately, it's often something that we don't really think about when we talk about cancer treatments.
So what are the kind of most common issues that are then faced by people who've had menopause brought about by cancer?
So probably one of the commonest symptoms that I hear about are things like hot flushes. So people will describe actually just waking up perhaps from their surgery and just lying in pools of sweat because suddenly they're just having these hot flushes and what are they all about? And that's very disconcerting, particularly if you're younger, and that's happening to you and it's not happening to your peers. Problems with sleep, night sweats, people waking up just drenched in sweat, can't get back to sleep. They might experience things like mood dips, so irritability, low mood, anxiety is a big one. And if you think about it, there's a lot of anxiety around cancer and cancer treatment as well. So it can be difficult sometimes to pick out what symptoms are to do with the menopause and what's to do with experiencing cancer treatment or just the sort of trauma of going through cancer themselves. There are so many, we would be here all day if I was to name them all. But some of the ones that as well we don't think about are sort of some of the vaginal and vulval symptoms that happen. And also some of the sexual issues that can happen after cancer as well, can be really debilitating. So they're the kind of symptoms that people can experience. But the thing that we really need to remember is that if we're going to induce a menopause in someone, i.e. we're going to make that menopause happen, we're often causing that to happen at an earlier age. So I talked earlier about the average age of menopause being 51, but for cancer patients, it's often 8 to 10 years before that. And that can have really significant impacts on overall health. So if you have your menopause before the age of 45, which is common if it's caused by cancer treatments, then it can have an impact on your bones, on your cardiovascular health, and also on your brain health as well. So from a symptomatic point of view, it's really important that we think about these things in our cancer patients. But from a health perspective as well, it's really important. We need to be able to protect the future health of our cancer patients.
So when someone comes in for your clinic, how would that work in terms of you kind of helping them manage the symptoms, kind of live with what's happening with them?
Yeah, so in clinic, I'm really fortunate in that, I do get to spend a lot of time with my patients, and I think that's really important. I think patients do need a lot of time, often quite shell-shocked by the time that they've come to me. I always think of cancer treatment as a bit like a conveyor belt. So people kind of, from the minute you get told that you've got cancer, it's kind of a shock, and you're just trying to take in all the information and you don't hear much else. And then you're just subjected to treatment after treatment, test after test, prod after prod, surgery after surgery by the medics, and your body kind of gets taken over. And then you go along this conveyor belt, and then kind of your treatment stops, or the treatment that's going on in hospital. Quite often patients are still taking sort of what we call adjuvant therapy, so medical treatments that they're taking for longer. But the sort of appointments stop, and the constant barrage of, I've got to be here to have this radiotherapy, or I've got to be here to have this surgery, that kind of stops a little bit. So I often see people a little bit down the line when all that has gone away, and everyone around them is saying to them, oh, great, well, you've had your cancer treatment now, or, that's all finished. But actually what I'm faced with in clinic is sort of a shell of a person who's desperately trying to piece their life back together and to understand what's happened to them and process everything, but is kind of being expected to kind of just get on with everyday life at the same time. So one of the most important things that I have in clinic, I think, is time to go over what's happened, time to talk about how they feel. And I talked before about how it's really difficult to know whether the symptoms are symptoms of menopause or whether they're symptoms of the cancer treatment or they're just symptoms of something completely different. And that's really hard for me too. And I say that to patients. I say sometimes it's hard for me to work out what's going on here. So what we really need to do is we need to try and unscramble this. And so some of the times what we'll do is we might give them drug holidays. We might say to them, right, well, we're going to stop this treatment. Not if it's like an active chemotherapy treatment or something, but I'm usually seeing people down the line from that. But if they're on perhaps other therapies after they've had their main treatment, we might stop them for a short time just to see how they are, to see how much impact those treatments are having on them. Or we might continue with their treatments, and we might just try and work out what kind of symptoms really matter to them. And so often what I'll do is I'll kind of say to them, right, I bet if I just said to you now, what symptoms are you having? We'll be here all day. We'll have a long list. So let's look at the top 2, top 3. And we'll just focus on those, and we'll say, like, which ones are the ones that are really affecting you right now? And let's focus on those. So if it's hot flushes, what can we do to help you with hot flushes and night sweats? If it's sleep, how can we improve your sleep? And we'll look at things like lifestyle as well, which is really important. And I know it's really close to your heart. And we do a lot of that. And I guess the way I really like to do that is we get like a page of A4. People can do this at home. page of A4 and we look at the 4 pillars of health. So we look at stress, or like easing stress, nutrition, movement, and which one have I forgotten? Stress, nutrition, movement,
sleep.
And sleep. Yeah, good. I think I need to sort out my own menopausal brain. So we'll look at those and we'll write them in the quadrants of the paper. So we'll divide the paper into 4. And I'll just say to them, look, why don't you put a few ideas in each box and where things might be going wrong? So I don't know, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. Oh, I can't even get out of bed. My joints hurt so much. I haven't got the energy to cook myself a meal. Everything just seems overwhelming. My stress is really high. And then I say to them, right, first of all, we're just going to pick one of these squares to work on, one of these pillars. Because if we try to deal with them all, we're going to fail. We're going to overwhelm you and you're going to feel really stressed about everything. So we just pick one. And actually sometimes in clinic, that's all I'm doing is we don't do anything to do with medicines or drugs. We just say, right, we're just going to focus on this and I'm going to see you in a few months' time. So for example, we might look at sleep and we might say, okay, well, let's look at the sleep, what's going on there. And we'll put in some ideas about how we can improve sleep, some sort of sleep hygiene type stuff. And it might be that that patient's saying to me, I can't sleep because I'm waking up because I'm drenched in sweat and I'm really hot. So what we would do is we would maybe try and work on that a little bit. And then that might automatically help their sleep. But what happens when they come back is that they realize that they've also crossed some things off in the other boxes as well, because none of this exists in isolation. So actually, if you're sleeping better, you might have a bit more energy. Your joints you might be able to move a bit more and therefore your joints might loosen up a little bit. If you've slept better, your brain fog's going to be better because your concentration is going to be better and you're going to feel less stressed and overwhelmed the next day. So it's really interesting to see how all these little lifestyle factors knit together. And I think that's really helpful for patients to feel like they don't have to do everything all at once. And that we can work on little bits at a time. And actually by doing that, we'll get this kind of drip down effect that will overall help them.
I'm a big fan of that. I believe positive habits cluster together just like negative ones do. So that makes all the sense in the world. If you can start on like, okay, what's going to have the most benefit short term? If that's moving, well, that is going to help you sleep more because you move more energy for the day. It's going to help your mental health. It's going to reduce stress because you're kind of creating positive emotions. And I think it's as good a segue as we could have asked for into the Live Well with Healthy Habits section of today.
Here we go.
I've got 9 questions with you based around the Wellbeing 9 a day. First 3 are about your journey in life. Mm-hmm. This is about how you move from the past to the present and the future. I always like to start by looking forward because I think it's the best one. So what's one intention you have for the future?
Probably I'm really working at the moment on feeling less overwhelmed. It's hard. It's a biggie. But I'm trying to be more present. I'm a mum of 3. I have 2 jobs and lots of different roles in various places. And I think sometimes that can feel very overwhelming and I'm trying to be more present. So I've been doing some yoga and some mindfulness and so far so good. It doesn't happen all the time, but then every now and then I can kind of pull myself back into just this present moment without my head flying ahead to all the possible catastrophes that are going to happen because of what I've done. So I'm trying really hard to be more present, I think.
So do you spend quite a lot of time kind of thinking forward? Because it's interesting that your intention for the future is to spend more time in the present, which I find very interesting. I love these questions.
You're right. I think I am one of those people that is always constantly thinking forward. I don't know whether it's kind of the medic mentality as well, because, we're very much taught to, think what's your next step? What are you doing next with the patient? If it's an emergency, you've got to kind of be one step ahead. And I think because we've kind of been trained to be doing several things at once and kind of overwhelm, I think that probably is my natural state. I think my family would probably say that I tend to think of the worst possibility. So I probably do project a little bit in the future. So I think it is probably a good thing for me trying to ground myself in the present. My kids are growing up fast as well.
Yeah, cool.
And they're not babies anymore. My eldest is about to turn 13 at the weekend. And I think I'm having a real moment of, oh gosh, I wished these years away, at times, because they've been hard. It's not easy having 3 young children. But they're growing so quick and I was thinking the other day about reading bedtime stories and things with them, and what I wouldn't give now for one of them to say, read me a bedtime story.
Cats in the cradle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lovely though. I do like that as an intention, and it segues lovely into the next one. What is your favourite way of being present? I know you mentioned yoga there and breathing exercises.
I'm a real advocate for breath work. I talk about it all the time with patients, and actually if patients arrive in clinic quite overwhelmed, I'll often just sort of interrupt the consultation. I just say, right, just a minute, we're just going to do some breathing here.
What kind of breathing do you do then?
So just some box breathing usually, or just something where we're just extending our out breath. Breath work is such a powerful tool, and it's free. And that's what I love about it, because I think, now with social media and the internet and everything, we can be sold 100 things in a minute. And I think particularly for cancer patients and menopause patients, there's a lot of advertising which hits us hard when we're online. And actually what we should be doing is looking what are the free tools that we have within ourselves and that we can use at any minute as well. So I know wherever I am, whatever's going on, I've always hopefully got my breath. And so I can use that, and I can just ground myself with that. So just little things that can switch your nervous system from that fight or flight into that more peaceful rest and digest mode. So you'll often catch me flicking on the kettle, having a little moment to myself, just doing a few, just extending my out breath, or doing some little bits of box breathing. And I just find that really helpful, I suppose, because it's quick.
But them little things you can do to help yourself along make all the difference in the world, don't they? It's like just even having a little bit more water and different things like that, where it's like, I'm just being my friend here and I'm doing the things that I need. And as you say, breathing is something you can always come back to. So it's good if you can kind of put it into the day and fold it in at key moments.
At any moment, can't you? You can be in the car, if I'm getting a bit stressed in the car, I can just breathe it through, Charlotte. Breathe it through. You'll be all right.
Brilliant. And then finishing off your journey, looking back, what's one bad habit you need to let go?
My phone.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I need to stop going down the rabbit hole. Scrolling. It's terrible. And I think having just about to be a teenage kid, and then my other one's only a year younger, and then I've got another one younger still, I'm really conscious of it, more and more conscious of it, because I'm having to make decisions about them being on phones. I'm saying to them, you can't be on social media, but I'm on social media. And, these things are designed, aren't they, to take our attention. And our attention is being stolen all the time. I'm really interested in some of the work by a guy called Johann Hari, who wrote a book called Stolen Focus, Why You Can't Pay Attention. And it's really fascinating thinking about how these tech companies are just stealing our attention. Actually, we are, it's not always our fault, because they are designed to do this. They're like dopamine suckers. They're taking all our dopamine, and they do it so easily and so quickly that it's really difficult for us to find something to replace that. So I think, an unhealthy habit that I need to get rid of is definitely scrolling on my phone, because I recognise I probably need to be a better role model to my children. It's
not fair, the whole bottomless scrolling though, is there? There's literally not an end, and
when you go from like cats singing a song, and then before you know it, you're served up something far darker. And you're like, how am I considering buying this ridiculous product? It's mad. It's a minefield.
You're not the only one. We've had a few people who've said the phones, and I think it is. It's the ease and the immediate gratification of what it is.
And that's it. I think it's that immediate gratification, and I think it's that stressed out world we're living in, isn't it? And actually, what I probably need to say to myself is, instead of picking up the phone, do a bit of breath work. Because actually, if you're in a stressed mode and you then start scrolling on your phone, that algorithm's going to work with that, isn't it? It's going to serve you up more and more stuff that's probably just going to heighten that stress.
What I've loved about your journey 3 habits is that all of them are pointing towards being present in the moment. So really for to focus on what that is for you, because that sounds like it's a need in terms of, okay, how can I reconnect with where I am right now? And I think that's a good lesson for all of us, because we only get one chance at every moment, don't we? Next up, we're going to talk about health. So mental health, talking about learning. What's one thing you're learning about at the minute?
Well, I've just got a puppy.
Oh, wow. What kind of dog?
Yeah, working Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Full of beans?
surprised I don't look more harassed than I do, because I had to get 3 children and a puppy ready this morning.
You've done very well to get here on time.
I was like, nearly had to bring it. At one point, it was crying when I left it. But actually, yeah, that's a big learning curve.
Yeah.
And it's probably helping me to be a bit more present at times, because I'm on like constant pee and poo watch. It's like very, very stressful. I would say harder than children, actually.
It is, because they can move. Like, it's a baby to begin with.
And this thing moves at the speed of light. It like just slips through your hands. I'm like running around this garden.
Working Cocker Spaniel's going to be high, full of beans.
Well, we've all, like, I've grown up with them. My parents have had them. So they're kind of the dog that I'm used to. And, you know, I love walking and stuff. So I kind of wanted a walking/running companion, although I'm not so much running at the moment. But that's been a sharp learning curve, and I am very much having to learn. And it's quite I'm finding it quite anxiety-inducing, nerve-wracking that I've got to get this right. And there's been quite a few, I found myself reflecting a lot on those early days of having a baby and how anxious I felt and how I didn't feel like I could do anything right. It's almost like I'm having some kind of trauma response with this dog. But yeah, we're easing into it. We're getting there. Everyone is learning hard lessons fast. We'll get there eventually.
Fair play to you. What's the name of the dog?
Marnie.
And
she is very cute.
Ah, that's lovely.
Which is good sometimes, because when she's tearing around the house and I'm like thinking, what have I done with my life here?
Exactly.
I have to just look at the cuteness.
You need them little cuddles just to remind you of why it was all happening. If you could do one right now that you enjoy, what would it be?
I'd have a cup of tea.
Cup of tea. All right, nice.
My children. They always laugh because they were just like, you run on tea, Mum. I love a cup of tea. There's nothing a cup of tea doesn't fix.
A specific kind of tea?
A Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire tea.
Is that okay to say?
Okay.
It's got to be Yorkshire tea, and like quite strong as well.
Right.
No sugar. I don't know what it is. I think I spent a lot of time with my great granddad when I was growing up, and he always used to have a cup of tea, always. And so it's probably just like learned behaviour from that. Just helps me to feel like grounded, and like my husband will tell you that if I haven't had a cup of tea in the morning, just don't even bother speaking to me. It's like one of my biggest pleasures is a cup of tea in bed.
What about like coffee and that? Or you're not bothered about coffee? You just tea?
I'm not so bothered about coffee. Yeah. My husband is really into coffee, and we spent some time in Australia last year, and I quite got into the coffee culture there. There isn't so much of that in Corbridge. The coffee kind of culture. So it's a bit harder. Nothing opens till 10, whereas in Australia you could go out at 5 a.m. and get yourself a coffee, and I kind of liked that vibe. So I've had to stick back with my cup of tea now.
Well, I think that's fair. It's not so bad as it looks.
I think it's like I think it may be from the wards as well, like working as a junior doctor, and like if you were having a really hard time on shift, just that one nurse who would just say to you, I've made you a cup of tea, Dr. Goody. And it would just be like the kindest, loveliest thing that anyone could ever have done for you. But it's the same thing with like, if you're giving bad news to a patient, or here's a cup of tea. It's just that comfort, isn't it? It's like people feel free to connect and to share, I think, when you're having a chat over a cup of tea.
Yeah, a great answer. Really good. And such a simple thing. Such a simple thing that you can have every day.
And very simple.
Great thing that's a wonderful thing to enjoy. Yeah, breathing and tea.
I'm done.
Yeah, you're sorted. What's your favourite way of connecting with other people?
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea. A cup of tea and some mindful breathing.
Yeah. No, I love I think probably say a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's nice. I think having kind of children that are growing up, I think we probably do most of our talking on a walk.
Yeah.
Because you're not like sat in front of them. Doesn't feel confrontational.
Yeah.
But like going for a walk, they'll often tell me things about their day that perhaps they haven't told me during the week and stuff. So I think walking and talking is great, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've heard of like forms of therapy that you can do where you like walk and talk to your therapist, and I was like, that would be the perfect type of therapy for me.
Totally. Well,
you're out in nature.
You're in nature, you're walking, you're moving.
Yeah.
And there's something about not looking at someone, I think, when you're talking to them, when you're walking. I know it works a lot for male mental health, where it's like, okay, we're going for a walk and now we can talk with them. It's not engaged.
Yeah.
Whereas when you sat opposite each of them, some men might be like, well, hold on, this is a bit too...
It's just very confrontational, isn't it? I think as well. It seems like you're being interviewed and that you're being asked about things. But whereas if you can just let conversation flow, and there's a lot to be said about silence as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think like obviously my background is in general practice, and, we have a lot of communication skills training. And one of the things that we really are taught is to give silence. Silence is really important when we're talking to patients, because, it's about processing what's been said, and it allows people to open up if they want to. So if I combine a cup of tea with a good walk, I'm a happy girl.
You need one of my Gen Z bags for your water bottle. Get yourself a flask.
Yes, I do need one of your Gen Z water bottles.
That's a good plan. What self-care do you need? We may well have touched upon it adjacently.
I mean, I always thought that I was someone that needed company all the time. Right. So I remember when I was little, I spent ages asking for this TV in my room, and I got this TV in my room and never watched it because I couldn't be on my own. Like, I wanted to be with everyone all the time. I'm really nosy and got massive FOMO, so probably it's to do with that. But as I've got older, I've actually recognised that I do need my own time. Like, I do need my own time, my own space. Maybe it's because of the children and the stress of, like, there's always constantly people around, which I love. And I love people coming to our house. I love that busyness. But actually, what I've learned is part of my self-care is actually accepting that I probably do need a little bit of time on my own with my own thoughts. So yeah, I will. That's it. I'll go with my podcast, cup of tea, walk, and that's kind of my self-care. Really simple, just really simple. But yeah. And
most of the time, things aren't that complicated. Really, the things that are good for you are pretty simple: drinking water, going for a walk in nature, and speaking with your loved ones.
That's it, isn't it? I think we've been kind of led to believe or fed this narrative that we need to do all these complicated things. We need to book into like a 28-day retreat to feel good. But actually, like you said, it's the little things that we do every day. I bought myself a sad lamp, one of those light lamps, because I really struggle with the going into winter. I wasn't brought up in the northeast, but down south we seem to have longer days. So in the winter, when the days get really short, I do really struggle. So I got myself one of those little Lumi lamps and I just sit by it every morning with my cup of tea, and it's made a massive difference. So it's like really basic stuff that just really helps me. Yeah. Like, I don't need to go on some fancy retreat or, go to 15 classes a week. Yeah. There's loads of little things that I can just put into my day.
Totally. And I'm a firm believer in that. It's them little things. It's the little things we do every day that make all the difference. So that you can go and do a big week retreat and that'll be amazing. I'm sure you'll have a fantastic week.
Yeah.
But how long does that really last with you? Unless you're going to take away some of your learning.
What are you going to bring home with you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Still, though, nice to have a retreat if you get the opportunity.
Oh, and obviously, if anyone wants to send me on a retreat for a nice break for my kids, I'm totally there. It's fine.
Exactly. You've got 2 volunteers in the room. Final question is a big one. This is serious. There's a dystopian future. All fruits and vegetables are going to get destroyed. You have the power to save 5.
Okay.
I've made it harder than it seemed when I sent you the questions ahead of time, but I just like to raise the stakes. What are your 5 fruit and veg?
Well, I wouldn't worry about it because I couldn't choose then, so I'm not going to be able to choose now. No, right, okay. Do I get 5 fruit and 5 veg?
No, 5 total across the board.
You're so mean.
It's 5 a day.
Okay, this is really basic. Broccoli.
Nice.
Love broccoli.
Yeah.
A kiwi fruit.
Right.
It's a bit bougie, but great source of fibre, so I'll be all right.
Good for sleep as well.
Yeah, vitamin C, all of that. Yeah. So that will help me.
Yeah.
Broccoli, kiwis, banana.
Yeah.
Because I like banana. You can put into things, can't you? Like you can have it in cakes, smoothies, porridge. I love it in porridge. Yeah. So that's a good one. Well, I've got 2 more left. Raspberries. Partial to a raspberry. This is sounding like a Waitrose shopping list.
It sounds very classy,
bring the tone down here a little bit. Now I definitely can't say my last one because I was going to say Adamo beans, but I can't say that. It was a classic.
Please do. Go for it.
No, I'm not going to. I would say...
Potato.
Potato, yeah. No, a sweet potato.
Right.
A sweet potato.
Yeah.
Much prefer a sweet potato. Well, because you could go savoury or sweet with that, couldn't you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I'm thinking,
And you don't get the nutrition that you do on a potato. You get more in a sweet potato. Yeah. I went that way as well.
Yeah, less refined carbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, there we go.
That's a good vibe. That's a good mix.
Yeah.
And nice and bougie as well.
Yeah,
Just some classy brunches and some nice dinners. We're now going to move on to an even more important question.
Wow.
Newcastle United Football Club, Premier League 11. So just to give you a little bit of context, 11 players, including a captain, 3 substitutes and a manager.
Well, I've got this written down, as you know,
Yes.
and we've had a big chat about this at home. And my little 8-year-old, I probably should make a confession at this point. I'm not from the Northeast. I have lived here longer than I lived in the South, but from the age of 7, I had a season ticket for Crystal Palace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay, so don't kick me out. But
No.
Yeah, but big, lifelong fan of Crystal Palace. But now I live in the Northeast, and my husband is a massive Newcastle United fan, like massive. And my son, obviously, massive football fan. So, you know, I did start to say that they were now my team, but then my family were like, you cannot do that. So I think, am I allowed 2 teams maybe?
We are.
I don't know. Yeah.
Especially last year was a great year for you.
Yeah.
FA Cup, League Cup.
Well, I was living in all the glory, wasn't I? I was like, I'll take it all. So we've got Pope in goal. We've got Livramento. Cher. No one wears a roll neck like Fabian Schär.
Right.
I mean, beautiful.
Handsome man.
Yeah, handsome man. One for the mums there.
Yeah.
Botman.
Yeah.
And we've got Big Dan Burn. He's from Blythe. You can't not have him. My kids love Dan Burn.
Class.
Murphy. Jacob Murphy, that smile could light up a room. Like, I can't look at Jacob Murphy without smiling.
He's great, isn't he?
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
My husband met Jacob Murphy and he said it was a quote from him. It was the best moment of his life.
Wow.
And I said, we've got 3 children here. And they were, he stuck with it. And I don't think the kids were like, well, fair play, Dad, that's fine. Yeah. I was a bit like, and our wedding day? No, yeah. And he's got a little picture on his WhatsApp profile of him and Jacob Murphy. So, yeah, but he has got a beautiful smile. And he's just, like, he makes me feel good. Every time you see him, he just makes you feel jolly, doesn't he? Bruno, I think that whole idea of someone who is such a team player and just brings everyone, that's what he does, doesn't he? He just brings everyone together, and that's really important to have on any team, whether it's a sport team or not. Jolinson, here we go to the past. David Schindler.
Yeah.
Did you know I was going to say that? Well, there's a reason for this. So when I was doing my GCSEs a long time ago, I had to do a project on someone, and I did it on David Schindler.
Wow. So this is when you were a Palace fan?
Yeah.
Right.
That's bad, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well,
I don't know who Palace had at the time.
I think you had to do it like someone you admired at the time, and who was probably had a poster of him on my wall. Let's be honest, it was probably all aesthetic. Yeah. So I actually had to go and buy, and who would even know that you could buy this? A magazine on David Schindler. Right. There was an actual David Schindler magazine.
Wow.
To do my research. And, you know, David Schindler helped me get an A-star in French conversation, so I'm going to take that.
I think you do.
So he deserves place at the team.
Sounds like you should be captain based on all of that.
Yeah. Maybe we should let's make him captain. Definitely.
Captain.
Yeah. And then 2 more blasts from the past. I've got Alan Shearer. I bet no one comes on here and doesn't say Alan Shearer.
Some people didn't. I couldn't believe it. I was going to start the question with your Premier League 11 for Newcastle United. I'll give you Alan Shearer as your captain to start, but no, people have went to the
well, he's not going to be my captain because obviously David Schindler is going to be my captain. So
yeah, exactly.
Just got to let him do that. But and then Les Ferdinand from the past as well. Yeah, definitely. And on my subs bench, we've got Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
I feel like we can't have too much hair on the pitch because we've got David Schindler with the hair. And then if we had Gordon as well, I'm not sure what's going on with his Barnet at the moment, but that would be too much hair at once.
Yeah.
So,
do you know that can come off?
Bench.
Gordon come on, Shearer becomes captain.
Yeah. Shola Amiobi.
Brilliant.
And Yohan Cabaye.
Right.
Because I had to have a Palace link in.
Right,
to pay for both clubs.
Yeah.
So there we go.
He was class as well, to be fair.
There we go.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. Who's your manager?
Eddie.
Yeah.
And there was a big debate over this in the house, but I was like, it's got to be.
Was it Bobby and Kevin?
Yeah, obviously. But definitely, it's got to be Eddie.
He won the cup, man.
Yeah.
He won the cup and got Champions League. That tipped him over.
Yeah.
My heart said Bobby Robson as a true Geordie because I just liked him. He was a gentleman.
Yeah.
I think Eddie deserves it, so I'm totally with you.
And he seems like a really nice guy.
It does. He's brilliant, and that was the difference maker for me. I get to see him every week now. I didn't when I was a kid, although I was a season ticket holder, so I saw Bobby as the manager. But now I'm seeing the press conferences, and it's like, this guy is class.
Yeah.
He's great at answering questions. He's professional. He's developing. Yeah, I think it's the right choice.
Yeah.
All right, that was a really good team. That's a really good team. Your youngest had a team.
Oh, yeah.
Please share.
Oh, don't. So he didn't understand that had to be Newcastle players. So then he said to me, Mummy, I've written a few notes on the bottom.
Brilliant.
And we've got Ronaldo, obviously, Pele. All of these people could have played for Newcastle. Maradona, Ronaldinho, Roberto Carlos, and Robin van Persie.
Wow. Mad team. Is it like
A mad team. He's just
great choices?
He just wants to sprinkle those in for a bit extra spice.
Hey, I think
bless him.
I think all of them probably would have made the team.
That's like I think we would have had any of them, quite frankly.
Apart from Van Persie, she was getting ahead of Van Persie.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so I was.
He is the outlier on that selection.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know why he.
I love it. It's like a 7-a-side team.
He just was like, yeah, there's not even enough players for a whole team, but he wanted me to have those as standbys just in case you ask me any more football questions.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had them ready. Exactly. That's fine. Well, lovely. We're moving into quick fire / slow fire, depending on how decisive.
My worst nightmare. I'm the most indecisive person, and I don't like committing to decisions. So this will be hilarious, I'm sure.
Yeah. Slow fire round. Favorite movie?
I'm going to say Top Gun.
It's
very cliche, isn't it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Right.
Yeah. And I actually did apply to be in the RAF.
Really?
As a medic. And then they were like, oh, you don't actually get to fly the plane. I was like,
I'm out.
So I'll not be like Charlie in Top Gun. Okay, fine.
What would you name what's it called?
Oh my God, no one's ever asked me that before.
If you know, that would have been my first thought. What's my handle going to be? I shouldn't be sticking you with a handle
something
name.
Really boring. I'll have to think on that one.
Yeah, we'll leave that one. Favorite musical artist?
I really like an artist called Bjorn.
All right.
It's a bit left field, Scandinavian artist.
What kind of music?
I don't know what you would really call it. It's kind of a bit Harry Stylesy. Right. I love Harry Styles, so I like that kind of genre of music.
Nice.
Yeah, they're very similar actually.
That's cool. Favorite song?
Lightning in a Bottle by Bjorn.
Nice.
You can all go and Google that later.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me how rubbish it is.
That's a recommendation. Favorite book?
There's a book called Wintering that I read every winter.
Oh, right, okay.
By Catherine May. And it's all about embracing the changes of the seasons and living with that. And kind of how we have moved away from living with nature. So, this should be a time. We're in a busy world where we're all kind of like living 100% all the time. And we're fighting against the natural rhythms of nature. And actually, this is if we looked at nature, we'd probably learn a lot about how we should live. Right. So it's kind of a time for hibernation and gathering. And then in spring, we can bloom again.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it's a really beautiful book. And I start it again every winter. And I read a little bit.
Yeah,
and it'll go through. I think it starts. I can't remember when it starts. I think it's November, and then it will take you through the whole of winter, and you can read a chapter at a time.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a really lovely book. I definitely recommend.
All right, good tip. Do you have a favorite game show?
Well, I think because of like old school, I would say Generation Game.
Right.
But current Taskmaster.
Oh yeah,
I love Taskmaster, and my kids like Taskmaster Bleeped. So that's as a family, we'll watch the bleeped version together.
Do you have a fun fact?
A fun fact about me?
About you?
I'm not a very fun person. No. I coach a girls' football team.
I'd love to watch you. You in a match day.
I get very passionate and sometimes forget where I am and can be caught jumping up and down and all sorts on the sidelines. No, it is the biggest... It's the biggest joy of my life, actually, I would say, bar my sort of family and kids. It's just so different to anything I've ever done. And it is like, I just love watching them grow and develop. My daughter plays in the team, and I'm actually a trustee as well of a football club in Hexham Football Club. It's just so far left field, I think, from what people think when they think of me. Yeah. But it started because I went to talk to them about improving girls' football and girls' health through football. And And I just emailed them and said, look, are we making sure we're looking after the girls? You know, are we providing period packs in the changing rooms? You know, should they be playing in black shorts, that kind of thing. And then literally the next week, they were like, come to our meeting. And there's me and like 20 sweaty blokes in a pub. And I'm wanging on to them about periods and all of this. And the next day, I got this picture of a little period pack placed in our club toilets. And it was probably one of the proudest moments of my life, because they'd really listened and they've really committed to developing girls football. And we've gone from having no girls team to having like over 100 girls playing.
Amazing. Oh,
and we actually have about 26 girls, nearly 30 girls that train with us on a Tuesday evening.
Wow.
And we have now 2 teams for our age group. And I love it. Like, I love the banter with the other coaches. I love just being there to celebrate the highs and the lows with the girls. And do you know what? It doesn't matter if they win or lose. They always have a smile on their face. And, you know, that'll set them up for the future. Yeah. So it's fun. It's fun and it's different and it gets me out of my head. And when I've had a tough week, you know, it doesn't matter how bad your day has been. When you spend your evening with those girls, you're always going to come away laughing. Yeah, they're fab. Yeah,
totally. Kids are so beautiful, aren't they, for that sort of the energy they can bring to your life, especially in that kind of when they're just there listening and ready to engage.
And I think it's a really important thing. I think sport is really important, particularly to girls.
Yeah.
And, you know, we lose a lot of girls in sport at the age where puberty begins.
Yeah.
Because their bodies change. We aren't really catering for them. Period cycles, they really affect their involvement. And we are getting a lot better at recognising that. But if we can start really thinking about that at grassroots level, then it's only going to filter up, isn't it, into the bigger stages.
Yeah. No, brilliant answer. I've got 2 last questions before we talk liver cancer. Okay. These are serious and you don't even know what they are. As a hybrid Toon fan, who do you prefer, Ant or Deck?
Oh, Deck.
Deck?
Well, nice. Biker Grove, a massive Biker Grove.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, and probably my crush was Deck.
Right, nice, good answer. And then if you're in St James's Park, are you a Toon or a black and white army?
Toon.
Toon, nice.
No thinking about it. Definitely Toon.
Very decisive. That was quick fire. We did well there.
Well, we have a lot of Toon in the house.
Yeah.
So, you know, much more Toon and
Nice. Lovely. Well, let's talk liver cancer. So, what was your life like? Just give us a bit of context in terms of what was your life like before you kind of came across liver cancer.
Yeah, so I suppose I kind of came around about Live Well with Cancer because of the work that I did with the Northern Cancer Alliance, which kind of all happened by chance. So there I was doing my kind of menopause work and starting to recognise that there was this group of patients that were really underrepresented. You know, everyone's shouting from the rooftops about menopause, but what about these people who are going through probably one of the worst menopause experiences there is, and there's nobody talking about them. And I was doing a little talk at like in a village hall, like really tiny village hall, and someone from the Alliance was there and we got chatting and kind of the rest is history. And they were like, you need to come and work with us. And then of course, then they were like, oh, we partner with Live Well with Cancer and they're brilliant. So actually, I think I just asked to come along to one of the sessions and had such an amazing time seeing the community and the hard work that you guys put in that I was like, I need to be part of this. It's so joyful.
So what did that work involve with the Northern Cancer Alliance? What was that?
Yeah, so I've been coming along to the groups and we've done a couple of menopause sessions, mainly with breast cancer patients, but we're hoping to do one with some of the bowel patients as well. And they've been really fun. I think everyone starts off a little bit nervous, like, who's this person coming into our group? And then, you know, we get out the model vulva and we start talking about sex and intimacy, and then everyone opens up a little bit more and people begin to share their stories, which is really lovely. There's a real power in sharing lived experiences. And I think to be able to create a space where people feel comfortable to do that is a very special thing.
Yeah. Is there much of a difference between like a group, obviously, well, I'm sure there is, but in terms of a group session compared to a one-on-one? Because if you got kind of our breast cancer support group where you might have like 20 women there in the room, I guess that's a different experience from being one-on-one and really getting into the...
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously I can do a lot more direct work with someone one-on-one often, but actually I think, like I said, there is this real power in people sharing what's helped them or sharing their symptoms or what has been difficult. Because what I find when I'm in isolation with a patient in clinic, it is that they feel like the only one. And there's a lot of guilt and a lot of shame and really difficult feelings around some of the symptoms that patients are experiencing. So something I hear a lot in clinic is, I should just put up with these symptoms. I should just feel grateful that they've been able to cure my cancer. I should just suck it up. This is just another thing cancer's taken away from me. And I hate hearing those things coming from patients, because no, you shouldn't just suck it up. No, you shouldn't just accept this. I'm really, really passionate about the fact that a lot of the symptoms that people feel and the difficulties that they experience after cancer treatment are caused by us. They're caused by the treatments that we give them. And we are getting better and better and better at treating cancer, and that is brilliant. But it's not really any good if we're not helping people to live better. Yeah. Because if we're going to help them to live longer, we need to help them to live better and live well. And so when then we're in a group situation, that's the kind of magic, is that people suddenly go, oh, okay, it isn't just me that is waking up with 15 hot sweats a night. Yeah. You know, it's not just me that feels really guilty about having this symptom. Perhaps that this is okay to share with my cancer team because that person shared it with theirs, or that person feels the same. And I think it's really hard, because I think having cancer groups is it's a difficult thing to do, actually, to get it right. It really is. And you probably don't realize this because you guys do it so well. But, you know, patients do say to me, and they say, you know, I don't want to go to a group and feel like, I don't know, it's cancer top trumps, you know, whose cancer was worse, whose symptoms worse. And I say to them, go to Live Well with Cancer. You won't feel like that. You won't. Yeah. You know, it's just, there's none of that there. No one's like, oh, my day's worse than yours. My cancer was worse than yours. I've never seen that happen. There's just this bond and this kind of sharing and lived experience and support. Yeah. And you probably really don't appreciate that from your side of the table, because you just see it all happening in front of you. Yeah, it's your point of reference. But actually I do, because I probably get to compare things a bit more, and I hear what patients say, and I think, gosh, if we could have that in every area, because unfortunately there are some areas of the Northeast where there aren't anything. Like in the part of Northumberland where I live, there is no cancer group, and it's taken me 45 minutes to get here today. So it's really special, and I think groups are a really safe place for patients as well. Really safe place to explore some of these things that are happening to them.
I think we're a bit unusual as well, because our breast cancer group's got secondary cancers in there as well. So it's kind of like a hybrid group, which I think isn't the done thing, generally speaking. But that community that gets built up within that, and as you say, it's not a competition. It's like, okay, you're on a different thing. And one thing that always comes up for me when we do these kind of groups is people knowing that they're not alone makes all the difference, whether it's sleep and it's like, oh, you're having bad sleep too. All right, at least it's not just me. It's to be expected. Yeah. That makes so much difference for people. Yeah. The ability to just accept it for what it is and it not being out of the normal, because you don't know, do you?
No. And I think you always get this impression that like a cancer group is going to be the most depressing thing on earth. Yeah. Like, do you see what I mean? I think patients sometimes, when I'm suggesting that they go to groups, that's what they're thinking. Like, we're all going to go and just be really miserable. Yeah. It's not at all. Like probably some of the best laughter I've had in some of those groups. And there are moments when it's really difficult and when people get upset, but it's like absorbed by the rest of the group, and they're cushioned and it's shared. And I can't imagine that anyone would walk out that door not feeling a little bit better for going and sitting in one of those groups. And you're right. I think it is that mix, and the mix of ages as well is really positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and you're right as well about in terms of my point of reference. I've only ever known my mum, and my mum is she's an award-winning founder and CEO now. She's flying, so I don't necessarily see what other charities would be like.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, this is just how it happens, and it's like, oh well, this is great. This is a wonderful thing. We've got, no matter what the session is. Because the support groups is one aspect, but like crafting for wellbeing's got a lot of the,
That's what I say to patients. I was like, if you don't want to go to the support group, don't go to the support group. Go and there's the running group now. Go and do something else. The craft groups. I'm always on the Instagram. I'm always like, am I scrolling? I'm always looking. I'm like, oh God, I wish I'd gone to that group. That looks really good. There's some really good stuff that happens. Some of the craft things, I'm like, oh, I would have liked to have done that.
Yeah.
There's always something for everyone.
The crafting group's such a bit like 20 odd people every week just coming along doing crafting together, and it's
there's some top talent in there.
Oh, there's some there's some amazing stuff. There's some amazing skills. We've got the artists as well who've done the calendar for next year, and we've got a wonderful community.
And it's just another way, isn't it, of expressing stuff that's going on for you. Some people aren't talkers, but actually they might be able to use art or something to just really get out some of those feelings and emotions.
Yeah, and some people just need to hear.
Yeah.
Because if you're sat there and you're crafting and you hear about someone else's experiences, it's like, oh, okay, now let's put a bit of context for me, and
Or they'll go home and they've heard a conversation. They thought, oh, actually, I was feeling a bit like that. That's maybe I do need to think a little bit more about how that's making me feel. Yeah, it's very special.
Yeah. Now, this one is slightly adjacent to liver oral cancer, but it's very much been involved in the process, and that's menopause cancer in me. So just wanted to I thought, well, why not have the opportunity to talk about that as a resource?
Yeah.
So obviously I've been working with you, but I'm going to ask the question to give you the chance to answer. How's the process been in terms of creating that as a resource?
Yeah, well, I guess creativity-wise, you guys have been amazing. Like when I look at that website, and I just think, oh my gosh, in my wildest dreams, did I not think that it could look that lovely and that beautiful? And you really took kind of what I was feeling about it all and really just put it into action. So I am very, very grateful, because I'm not a very creative person. I could write content for you, but creativity is not my thing. I just wanted a space that was easily accessible, that could be dipped into, so it wasn't an overwhelm of information. I'm conscious that sometimes when I'm talking to patients, or when other clinicians are talking to patients, there's just sometimes too much going on, and it's all too much. And then you want to signpost people to something, but it's very hard to find specific resources about menopause and cancer. There are some great resources out there, like Danny Binnington's Menopause and Cancer podcast. She's got a brilliant website and charity. So there are things out there, but I'm really conscious that patients are getting accurate, evidence-based information. And I thought that would be a good space, so people could actually just, if they had symptoms, they could go on there. If they hadn't even heard about the idea that menopause and cancer could be connected, they could go on there and find out a bit more. But if they had a specific symptom, they could look up, right, what can I do about it? So then they could perhaps go to their GP or a member of their cancer specialist team, and it would just spark that conversation. And in a way as well, some health professionals aren't thinking about menopause and cancer. So I think they could go there too, and find out a bit more information. But I needed it to be positive and nice, and just as bougie as some of the other information that's out there about menopause. And that was really, really important. And for the focus to be on the patient, the person at the centre of this, because we can do all this work, can't we? But, I think one thing that we sometimes forget in medicine is we forget that there's a patient at the centre of this. And it's all about them.
Yeah. I think it's a great resource. I think it's came together really well. It's a good combination. It's been nice to get fed from a few different experts as well in terms of the different areas. I think we've got something there that is easy to navigate. It's got a lot of resources. So stay tuned for It'll probably be out actually by the time.
I think it might be, yeah.
By the time this goes live. I hope so. But fingers crossed. Yeah.
You're really sick of it.
Yeah. No, do you know what? Obviously my role is kind of the passing it between you and the designer. So it's like, okay, how do we structure this in a way where it's going to work? How do we get the words as few as
Charlotte's
possible?
Got 15 comments again.
You were totally fine. I love making resources like that though, because it's bridging the gap between the expert and the user. And that's when Javy comes in and makes the the design, the way it looks is out of my hands, and the giant vulva is possibly getting
I know.
removed.
We've had a lot of chat about the giant vulva. vulva. I mean, I'd be happy for a giant vulva to be splashed on everything. I'm always talking to people about looking after their vulva, so it's fine by me. I didn't think it was scary at all. I can see how some people might think it was.
Just as it's written down, it makes you say, oh, right, okay, yeah, now that I see that written.
Also, when you read the email that says, can we remove the giant vulva? You're like, maybe we did get it wrong on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's really cool. So do you have a highlight from your time with liver oil cancer?
I think that very first group that
first
I went
one.
to. Yeah. Really special. And like, do you know what? Maureen, she's the best, isn't she? She's just so welcoming. She just gave me this big old hug. Because it's nerve-wracking, actually, even as a doctor that, you know, you'd think would probably be fairly confident, like talking to people. It's nerve-wracking when you go into that kind of space because it's not your space. And, you know, I haven't had cancer. So I do sometimes worry that people will be like, well, how dare you? You know, what do you think you know about this? And I just felt welcome from the minute I walked through the door. It's like a TARDIS, that place, isn't it? It's like you kind of don't expect all this to be going on behind this really innocent looking front door. And it's just like, it's like a hug. It's like walking into a massive hug. And you guys have been so supportive of everything that I've done. And I'm ever so grateful. And I just hope that I can continue to work with you for a long time.
Well, that's a two-way thing, because we're very grateful to have experts coming in and actually sharing, because it is a topic that people don't know, and we're talking about people with cancer here who maybe have gone through it and didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And actually knowing what's caused something can give you so much peace of mind, because then at least you know what you're dealing with.
Very empowering.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, if we didn't have you there, then that would be an unknown, and then people would be kind of left searching. So it's been nice to have that from that initial one and to continue on. And then a special guest on the Live Well podcast.
I know.
What a place to be.
What more could I want?
Yeah, exactly. You finally made it.
I made it.
You must have done a few podcasts.
I have done a few podcasts.
Yeah. How do you find it?
I really like them. I love talking.
It's nice having a chat, isn't it?
I love a chat. I mean, if we had a cup of tea, it would be better.
Yeah.
But, I love just having a chat. You know, I'm very passionate about women's health in general and about the health, and particularly this kind of, you know, working with cancer patients to help them live better. So I think anything that you can do to kind of normalize these conversations and to chat about it and just feed it into that mainstream conversation is brilliant. Yeah.
Well, that segues quite nicely, and I'm going to actually flip my questions and ask like hopes for the future. And this isn't necessarily just liver or cancer, more around the menopause and kind of your work. Like, what does that look like for you?
I think in terms of like my big hope for the future, I think it's about normalizing that conversation, like not having the cancer patients on the outside as this little group that we need to bring in. The menopause conversation needs to include everybody. And I think it's brilliant that we're talking about it, that, you know, it's so mainstream now. Everyone's talking about menopause. I mean, you couldn't have imagined that like 10 years ago. And I think, but we do have to be really careful that smaller or more marginalized groups are represented at that table. And that's really important. And we have to be really careful as well that this conversation doesn't become really polarized. So what I do see quite a lot of at the moment is there's kind of like there's this two ends of the spectrum. So there's like HRT, or no, you mustn't take HRT and it's all about lifestyle. I think we can meet in the middle. And I certainly think my personal view is that if you don't do the lifestyle stuff, you could take as much HRT as you want, but it's not this kind of golden elixir. Yeah. So I think there is space for absolutely everyone at this table. And I think we probably need to get better at including lots of different groups here. I think this is only just the start. We need to have equity of care for everybody. We can't have these big gaps in care. And we need to be working together rather than polarizing the discussion, so that we can all have a seat around the table and we can all have really open discussions. And it is a difficult area. And I think particularly when the cancer element's involved, it's, you know, there aren't many guidelines. There's not a lot of research. We can't wait for that to happen. So we have to get comfortable at sitting in the grey areas. And actually, you know, that's where the good stuff happens. When we sit in those grey areas and we talk it through, and we don't all have the same opinions. But if we just get that conversation going and we start those discussions, that's where change will happen.
Yeah. Oh, that's a wonderful answer. I'm grateful that I've been involved in the Menopause Project just to understand it, because obviously, you know, I'm a 36-year-old bloke. It didn't really register on it, on my kind of thing. A little bit of an overshare. When we did the menopause, you know, it was the Northern Cancer Alliance Menopause Day. So throughout my life, I totally shouldn't be saying this, but I'm in now.
You're going to tell me you're in the menopause?
No.
I'm going to have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. The menopause. It's finally hit us. No, someone was talking something about vaginal care.
Yeah.
Makes me faint. So
Okay.
I was in the Northern Cancer Alliance menopause meeting, and one of your colleagues, I can't remember who it was talking about what was going on down there. And I honestly was about this close to fainting, to the point where I had to get up and leave the room. My mum knew it was happening. She was watching it. She was like, "Are you okay?" There's something about it, and I don't know what it is. Do you know where it goes back to? Totally oversharing.
God, I feel like we should have
I need to know the answer to this.
Yeah.
I need to know the answer to why I faint when it happens. I think it goes back to when I was a teenager. I was watching Casualty. There was a young lass, and then she just like gushed a load of blood down her street, and then I went then, I fainted then. I had another one in sex ed when I was in high school. I was hot. It's always when I'm hot and I haven't eaten.
Yeah.
And then I fainted. It happened to us again at the menopause day. So I had to leave the room. So it's good to know these things, because I think it makes me more familiar with it, but I still don't understand why I was fainting at that point.
No, I think as well, like the fact that you've recognised that is really important. It's obviously, it brings something up for you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon. I've had medical students before, female medical students, where we have been talking about vulval and vaginal health, and I'm really wary now that you're going to start fainting.
Yeah. Let's talk broadly.
When we've been talking about it, have felt really faint. So I think, you know, our past experiences, and it can be tiny little things that we've seen, like it might have just been that you saw that and that made you feel quite unwell, and now you've carried that with you.
Could be.
We're doing quite good exposure therapy for you though, aren't we? Because literally, if you sit in a room with me for more than 5 minutes or in one of those meetings, I'm bound to get onto that topic.
And I think it's a good thing.
Do you feel it's working?
I think it's a good thing,
Okay,
and that's kind of why I brought it up, although I probably shouldn't.
I think it's nice that you've brought that up, because I think a lot of people, not just men, do find it really hard. There's a lot of shame and stigma associated with talking about vulvas and vaginas. And that's a real problem, because then I have people coming to clinic who are feeling shamed.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to name it to unshame it, is a really good saying. So we have to keep talking about these things, because then we can remove some of the shame and stigma. And actually, in you recognizing the response that you had to that, you can start to unpick it.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
Yeah. And then working on it as well, it's obviously being closer to us. So it's one of those things, not that it went particularly graphic, the content, but certainly, I think the exposure is helping. So yes, thank you.
And it's good for blokes to know about these things.
Well, 100%, because it's a closed door in my mind, or at least had been beforehand, but working on this project, I'm aware. And, you know, I'm grateful for that as well, because for my partner, for in the future, when it happens, it's nice to be aware that these things are going on.
And these are probably some of the most debilitating symptoms that patients have.
Totally. And coming out of the blue and not understanding it, because I can imagine for partners, if you are not aware of menopause, and then someone's dealing with symptoms, hot flushes and brain fog and all these things, like, it would be hard. I don't know how you'd understand it unless you knew.
Yeah. And I think that is hard, because what you see is real changes in relationships as well between couples, and particularly intimacy in relationships. So if we can be more open and honest about talking about these things, then we can start to break down some of the taboos. And we can fix your phobia.
I've volunteered to go first. I've overshared about fainting. So at least I've done my part. Yes, exactly. If anyone else out there who faints, you're not alone.
Email in.
Yeah, exactly. Please email in, so I know I'm not alone. Lovely. Right, last question. Well, second to last question. What does being part of the Live Well with Cancer community mean to you?
A joy. I think just one word, joy. It's joyful.
That's a wonderful thing.
I'm always looking for things that bring joy to my life. It's hard sometimes in the heaviness of life as it is at the moment for everybody. I think we should all have things that spark joy in us. And whenever I get a little message from Maureen or something like that, and she says, "Oh, do you want fancy coming along to the group?" or something from you guys, like, "Do you want to work on this? Do you want to do the..." Like, it just sparks a little joy in me. Yeah. So I think that's all I need to say. Joy.
Wonderful. And that's kind of the ethos of the charity is to live well with cancer. And the emphasis is on live well. It's not on the cancer part. It's about, well, how can we empower you, improve your health and well-being? So it's lovely that that's coming back as joy. Really good answer. Okay, I didn't tell you this one. What's one thing I should have asked you today that I didn't?
God.
Hard question.
How I take my tea.
Ah, right, yeah. Go on then. How do you take your tea?
You never made me one, Johnny. I was expecting one when I came in. No, oh God, that is really difficult. But if you want to ask me how I take my tea, no sugar, just a little bit of milk. So next time, I can have one when I arrive.
I'll bring a flask in my bag. That'll be lovely.
in your little bottle carrier.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been a lovely conversation. Thank you also to Hayward from Hayward and Stuff Productions. It's been a pleasure to do these podcasts. Thank you so much for having us, as always. Thank you, Charlotte.
Pleasure, always.